All right, folks.
Uh,
Well, go ahead. I was just gonna introduce us to the stream. So,
yeah, go for it. I'm just getting password.
oh yeah, here I got you.
All right.
Welcome back to another cast, folks. We have Tori is my co-host or
G'day,
co-caster,
guys. How you doing?
and we have Joe versus QQ. So it is Crab versus Scorpion, and we can take a quick look at some lists here. And so I've got Joe's list pulled in front of me, and looks like Joe is playing some interesting cards here. So Joe's on Mia Satoshi, which I think every crab should be on. I think Mia Satoshi in crab specifically gives you so much value. It makes a lot of matchups really strong with Karada District being such a powerful card.
Yeah, it helps out in that dragon matchup and mirrors a lot.
It makes the mirror like really insane. Karada District and Taka are actually the two cards that break the mirror, and if you get to Karada District before your opponent, it's actually really hard for your opponent to win. Uh,
Yeah,
it's also
and it
really
also fuels rebuild, right? You get to
yeah. So and it puts
pull
keepers in the
back.
graveyard.
Yeah,
So it's like a threefold thing, right? It's also just another character that's harder to die, right? It's because he finds copies of himself, so it keeps the crab theme going along.
yeah. It's not a bad charge target as well because you can then just keep her in with iron mines and reprieves.
Oh yeah, sure, and you can just activate it too. You charge and then activate it.
Yeah, so he
So
does have the Imperial Palace as well
so he's
and
got
Karada.
7 targets, 6 targets, right? So it's
Yeah, so he's not running the Stoic Magistrate. I guess he's not expecting too many lion
I mean I think
in the
Stoic Magistrate is good against Lion and Crane, but not against anyone else realistically.
yeah, it's too expensive.
It's too expensive for what it does. It also just kind of makes for some awkward blocks from yourself because crab does like to stack a lot of small guys together with the crab box to defend conflicts.
The other thing that I was going to bring up about this particular list is the two Crisis Breakers instead of three of them. That's curious to me because when I first read that card, I was gobsmacked at how good it seemed.
So in crab chat, Crisis Breaker actually is like a two of in almost all of our lists. So the problem with Crisis Breaker is his weak political stats and the kind of reliance on Spyglass. Um, he's sweet, right? Like against the military focus clans, but he's not always good because he just kind of they just declare a larger political attack, right? Or if you don't get to attack, like if you don't get to have them in two conflicts at first, like if they're first player, they just do their military attack first.
Yeah,
Eh,
and so by reducing it to a two of, you can kind of choose. You can elect not to buy it against Scorpion and Crane and stuff,
Yeah,
for example.
exactly. But like against Lion, Dragon, like clans that are going to declare their military attacks against you, he's really really strong. Because he's running
Yeah.
Satoshi's on 3 rebuilds, he one thing you pointed out to me was he's on No Mountain Does Not Fall,
Yeah,
and
that's a big shock to me because I play crab here and there, but I'm not a crab main by any stretch.
yeah. So the reason that a lot of crabs have cut Mountain, I don't think any of us have cut it down to 0 like Joe, but a lot of us have cut it down to like 2. Some of us are down to 1. Is the problem right now is that the meta is just full of for shames and bow effects, and unless you specifically have Borderlands Defender, it's really hard to deal with, like specifically against Scorpion, right? In this matchup, Fate Worse Than
Yeah,
Death, For Shame, all of these bow effects that can bow defenders. It just leads to you getting blown out, right? Where
or
you
you pay a fate and it gets cancelled and it hurts
yeah,
really
exactly.
bad.
You pay a fate in a card and your guy gets bowed, and then you're like crap. Or you pay a fate in a card and it gets canceled, and you're down cards. Or if you try to do it on a character that doesn't have any fate, and they're doing Water Ring, you play it and get Water Ring because then you end up losing the conflict, like stuff like that. It's just not a strong enough tempo play against certain clans that are really strong right now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Joe is
Uh,
a bit of a madman though. Like he wasn't he one of the first crabs that cut Watch Commander for a while there.
I think a lot of us did actually. He is the first. He was the first person to try Cloud the Mind. He was the big proponent of Cloud the Mind and Crab.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It just deals with it helps. They don't have much targeted removal, so it helps with
Yeah,
problem characters, which I like.
for sure. And so we see this traditional unicorn splash 3/2/3. Um, he's running the third Wayfinder to power out his Cloud of the Mines, giving him just 6 total Shugenja, but the Witch Hunters last forever, so that's pretty easy to keep going.
Yep. And the Wayfinder is crucial in that dragon matchup to not run into horrible things.
It's actually pretty important in this matchup too. Like scouting Pilgrimage is pretty important if you want to.
Yeah, Pilgrimage is almost the worst case province for a crab to run into, I think.
Yeah, because you want to poke a lot. So taking a quick look at QQ's list, there's not much to say. It's like 95% what Chris's deck is. It looks like one of the he's like cut down on a calling in favors. It looks like he's got one less niece. There's an I Can Swim, I think, that's not in Chris's deck. But for the most part, this is... Oh, God.
The calling in favors reduction, that's sort of a response to people shying away from Unicorn Splash a bit, I think.
I think also just Scorpion Mirror, right? Like, Scorpion is such a high representation of the field.
The other curious thing about this list is that he's pumped up the Cunning Magistrate count, which does really help against Crab, in my opinion, because he got such high skill guys.
I think Cunning Magistrate is just a really insane card. I've been playing Scorpion recently, just because they're really fun to play, and that card has just impressed me every time I've had it. It's just really insane.
And against a clan like Crab, where he doesn't really have many honoring effects, like he's playing 3 court games, that's about it, really.
Yeah, that between that and
really
firing.
Hurts. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna.
What else? He's running 3 City of Lies. Yeah, that's pretty normal now.
For this list, right, with the mono no Ori type deck, 3 cities is definitely correct.
So he's actually gone for 3 Soshiro Miyako, which is something I don't think Potoff played that, right?
No, I don't.
And he's sort of increased the conflict deck character.
Yeah, let's see what Chris is running.
Count.
Oh, I'm searching Chris.
I love Soshiro Miyako though. That character to me is just it's the stat line is great and the effect is just super strong. I think it's gonna see a lot of play when the Shinobi theme gets fleshed out a bit more.
I would agree.
With like a choke sort of deck where you're bidding low and
just see more play, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Chris is not on any Miyakos. Chris has less holdings. And yeah, Chris has Cloud the Mind, whereas QQ does not.
Yep. So what do you think about this matchup in general, Scorpion versus Crab?
So I think
it's heavily favored.
I think Crab is actually heavily favored in this matchup. I think
really.
So just this version of the deck, right?
Yep.
So the version with mono and it's trying to control the board. I think it's really hard to control Crab in terms of their characters, because Crab characters with no fate doesn't really matter, right? They have 17 different ways to keep them in play.
Yeah, Fate Worse Than Death hurts a lot less to Crab, and so does Mono. Really doesn't really do much.
Yeah, so it is still a tough matchup, but I think between this deck revolves around playing a lot of cards in conflicts to basically stall them out and then poke in for rings. Like, Watch Commander is going to be really big in this.
Yeah, and I think Joe's going to be happy with QQ's decision to only run 1 Calling in Favors for this particular matchup, because that card decimates Unicorn Splash pretty hard.
Would you say Calling in Favors?
Calling in Favors,
yeah, for sure. With only 1 of those, and then he's got 2 Let Goes. So only 3 pieces of attachment control. You can attempt to just overload the attachment control out of Scorpion.
Okay, so QQ's flopped the Imperial Palace, which is pretty hot.
Yeah,
and Joe's just gonna buy the
flop's
Yusuke.
really insane. This is like the ideal flop for this deck, right? Manipulator pass. Although we're gonna see Joe's gonna pass.
Joe will pass. He's not paying for an initiate.
Joe's flop. So it looks like Joe Mulligan 4 cards out of Dynasty. No,
that
2
is pretty
sick. cards. 2 cards out of Dynasty.
So I watched one of Joe's videos when he was playing Pot Off, and he sort of he posted 3 of the games that he managed to beat Chris up to YouTube, and I watched them all. And that's something that he did. I noticed he kept keepers in his mulligan, which I started doing more in my games, and I think it's pretty powerful.
So keepers are holdings, right? Essentially, on turn 1, you're never going to play them. The reason that you want to keep them in this matchup is the game is going to go long, right? Like, the game is just going to go turns. So you might as well get them in your graveyard and get them in play as fast as possible, where you can generate incremental value.
Yep. Okay, so no surprises here. The 6 bid to the 5 bid, and the honor theft begins.
Joe with giving him a boo. I can't blame him. I too would like to draw 6 cards.
Draw 6 cards without paying the drawback.
yeah, just bow my stronghold.
Okay, so with Joe being first player, I mean, if I'm in Joe's shoes, I'm probably going to pass my first conflict. I don't want to give him, I don't want to let him see his province before he has a chance to pass his conflict as well.
I think I would pass both my conflicts.
Yeah, well, if an assassinate hits the deck, I mean, what do you do?
So that's what
invested 4 fate.
Well, that's why I don't want to attack. Right, I want to at least block and use this ability first.
Yep.
So I think that's why I don't want to attack at all, because then the initiative goes to my opponent. Whereas if I can block, I at least get some value if I do get assassinated.
If you had a reprieve, would you play it now?
No. I would not reprieve Shurujisugi. I think there's more important targets. I actually think
the
Joe...
opportunity cost too high, right?
Well, I think it's also just a bait, right? Like, so Joe could just be trying to bait out assassination, because it is just a way to start getting Scorpion to tank their honor.
Mm-hmm.
You could...
Yeah, that's one of the strategies that he talked about in his video, was that he likes to sort of choke the honor out a bit, because of stuff like Iron Mine being so efficient for board state.
Nope, you're right. We see a reprieve on the Suzuki, so it looks like he is going to try and just grind out value with the Suzuki.
Yep, so he's trying to protect his investment.
He's also attacking with both characters.
Yep, so they've both passed, and he wants to covert this manipulator. So he's trying to avoid, like, for shame, which is an inexpensive way to sort of
meditations,
which isn't the worst.
It's actually, like, reasonably the best province in quotation marks for him to hit, like Pilgrimage being the worst.
Yep.
Seeker Cache is obviously something you don't want to hit when your opponent has 7 fate banked.
Shameful wouldn't be super bad. Still not the best.
Just dishonor the Yusuke and honor the skirmisher if you don't have a conflict character. But if you have a conflict character, which is very reasonable for Scorpion to have, it would be awkward.
Yeah, that's right. And he's drawn a quarter of his deck already. So, okay, so meditations.
Tenorem, I sound barely awake because I did just indeed wake up. I was on call, so I've got like 5 hours of sleep. But I do love casting, so I have no problem being here.
Mate, your work ethic is something to be admired, I gotta say. I'm up at like 3 in the morning. I'm like, man, he's still on. He's still on casting games.
Yeah, I have a lot of agency right now because work is really light.
That's good. Okay, so Shurujisuki's getting used. What sort of cards are you looking for with Yusuke in this matchup early?
Early? I want just to grab Watch Commanders. I want to grab all my attachments and just start stockpiling them. And then I just want to pick... I just want to load up, like... I just want to pick a character with, like, 4 fate, like a Witch Hunter, and just be like, alright, you're my horse, I'm going to ride you.
Yep, I agree.
Because QQ's not playing Claude the Mind, so Witch Hunter is like a really sick target.
Yeah, that's an interesting omission as well. I think in many matchups, just playing the 3 Fate Worse Than Deaths is adequate, along with the suite of all the other control they have.
At PAX, Chris and I were talking, and he said that the Claude the Mind specifically helped him a lot in the Crab matchup, where before he was having a hard time.
Because Crab don't really have a great way of dealing with it, right? If they're using Unicorn Splash, Karada can't move attachments on your own guys, so you can invest 5 or 6 fate on a Witch Hunter, and it just becomes a blank character.
Well, it still has pretty decent stats, right? But yeah, it's not really why you want to play it. So we see Miyamoto's Fury, the bane of Crab, having such low. So
this is curious because he wasn't threatening a break yet. Okay, and there's the way of the Scorpion to reduce the skill down to 0.
I'm okay with this. This conflict puts me up a card.
From the perspective of Joe, right?
Yeah, right. Like you're up a card because your opponent played 2 cards to stop this conflict, and you gained a card from your Yusuke. So he bonsais the skirmisher. Bonsai
and both of those cards that qkieu played are actually quite high value. They sort of have influence, especially against Crab, the whole game long. So having them drained This is interesting.
Charging this actress almost signifies that he doesn't have anything else.
Well, he's wanting to prevent the break, right? So maybe
Yeah.
he's going to concede the conflict, or maybe he's got it for shame and he just wants to win it and prevent the Ring of Earth going off and 2 keepers entering play.
Yeah, that's fair. But wait, like this is a lot of cards to stop this conflict. Joe's put minimal investment into this conflict. QQ is gonna be putting in. So QQ went up to 10 cards, right? So he's gonna be down like 2 cards by the end of this conflict. Interestingly, we see a Wayfinder being dropped into the conflict.
Wow, so this is getting to be quite the conflict. There's a lot of cards being spent by both players here.
Wayfinder does reveal Pilgrimage, which is really huge. Now Joe doesn't have to make any chump attacks into it and get blown out by not having any force.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't actually get to see from the spectator mode which province that is, right?
Correct.
We don't get to see under the Imperial Palace. Frustrating.
Yeah, that would be really awkward if it's under the palace. It'd be pretty hard for him to break. So we did see the City of Lies be used on Miyamoto's Fury.
Yep. So just more economy.
Tenor, I'm pretty sure QQ is not playing Bonsai. Because this is like Chris Sir Largen's.
He's actually running 3. He actually is running Bonsai.
Oh, he is. Okay, so that's a change. That's different.
I know that there's a Scorpion player in my meta who's been using Plagiarist instead of Bonsai and just copying his opponent's
I love
Bonsais.
Plagiarist. Plagiarist is sick.
Oh man, pretty underrated card. I think the card's really sick.
I think if its traits weren't as good as it was, it would be worse. But having Shugenja and Courtier is pretty sick.
Yeah, it's a dirty, dirty card.
So Joe says a dilemma. Alright, so we see policy debate here. So I wonder. So Joe could bid slightly high. Like you could bid high or early and try and see if QQ also bids high. I think you can glean a lot of information on how people want to play it.
If I'm the Scorpion, I'm probably going to bid 4 and just guarantee the win. And
yeah, if I'm Crab, I'm bidding 5 in case Scorpion wants to be greedy. I think I risk one. I think I risk the honor to potentially win.
This is the sort of situation where policy debate duels are actually quite intriguing.
Interestingly, both players bid 3. So if Joe had bid 5, he would have tied.
Wow. So yeah, I think paying 2 honor to tie the duel would have been worth it, but of course you don't have the foreknowledge of seeing QQ's bid.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so here we go. Charge, Skirmisher, Rebuild, a Talisman, and 2 Watch Commanders. That's pretty sick. What would you take here?
He's probably gonna take a Watch Commander. He could take Talisman. You could take Rebuild. You could take the Skirmisher also. This hand was pretty sweet for Joe. You play a small character and then you have a ton of conflict characters. Like going wide is really hard. Going wide is really hard for the Scorpion deck to deal with.
Yeah, having those 2 1-drop conflict characters has been a real boon.
He could take the Skirmisher and then use his Actress to grab that Skirmisher. That would be a tech play.
Definitely.
Because there's currently no character to grab.
So your first instinct turned out to be right. Watch Commander hits the discard.
Like this
That's
deck
not really too surprising.
This deck can't beat that card, right? Like if it just sits there and gets into multiple conflicts, like over the long run, this deck just can't beat it.
Yeah, because a central part of the strategy is playing many conflict cards. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Like 4 cards have already been played this turn by QQ. If there was a Watch Commander in this conflict, that'd be 4 honor.
If I'm Joe right now, I'm feeling pretty good about this. The Scorpion players expended a lot of resources here.
I agree.
A few key cards and a charge and some fate. It's been. Now he does have the fate lead, but you got reprieve on Yusuke. I'm feeling pretty good.
He's only expended 1 fate though, is the thing. So in terms of fate, it's not that big of a deal.
That's fair.
You do have the value though with this Yusuke, and you took a really defensive like turn 1 with double keeper. So here's the first shame.
Yep. And so now it's up to QQ to decide he wants to spend yet another conflict card.
He has to, right? If I've invested this much into the conflict, I have to keep going until I win, because if you then invest all this to just stop the break, but then lose a card to Earthring followed by double keeper, like that's just horrific.
Yeah, you pretty much need the mono no Aware at that point.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad actually. It would still allow
You
Joe a
just got
second attack.
you got to be nervous about losing it to the Ring of Earth.
The two.
You only have one.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like not even that good, right? In quotation marks, because the keeper still has the reprieve to survive, or sorry, the Yusuke,
Yeah.
and then the keepers are still keepers, right? Like monoing keepers just feels really bad.
Yeah, it's not the ideal use. Oh man, this is a painful decision. I can feel QQ's pain here.
Yeah,
Um,
he's yeah. I see another card out of his hand. We see a bonsai.
okay, there we go.
So he plays a small bonsai because he knows that he can't win. So Joe should just pull his wayfinder out with the favorable ground.
Yes, that would be the play. To defend potentially QQ's last conflict, right?
Yep. Let me just see what provinces Joe's running. Joe is on pilgrimage also.
I love that.
Oh
I
no,
think
wait.
it's great.
No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I literally just pulled up two of
Oh, he's on
QQ's lists by
Shameful.
accident. Yeah, he's on Shameful.
So Shameful hurts a couple problem matchups with Crab. It's good against Scorpion because it kind of equalizes a bit of the dishonor effects.
What also
And
dishonors
it's good against
courtiers?
Dragon. I think it's good against Dragon too.
Yeah,
If you
so
dishonor Master.
it's good against Dragon, good against Scorpion, good against Crane, good against Phoenix. It's medium against Lion. Like Pilgrimage is also very good against Lion. So
Yep.
there's like a push there, and then obviously I think it's pretty bad in the mirror. Minus a couple characters. 6 cards for 1 fate seems fair. Joe griping a little bit here. To be fair, out of the cards that he played, only 2 actually had a fate cost, and just the City of Lies coming in there.
Yeah, and I think if we looked at his list, there'd be plenty of zero cost effects too. I think I'm very happy with that personally. I mean, yes, you didn't get your keepers, but you're going to eventually win an Earth conflict.
Yeah,
in this
exactly.
game.
You also have this Wayfinder still there. You know where Pilgrimage is, so you don't have to attack it. You can just do a political attack at that Meditations if you want.
So if you're QQ, are you looking to do a Void Ring? Kind of make him spend the
Water. I'm
reprieve?
gonna do water.
Water.
Water threatens the Wayfinder, and it threatens the unbow on the actress.
Even given that this is the last conflict of the turn.
Oh, I didn't realize QQ passed his first conflict. Probably Void?
Void or Fire? Probably Void.
Yeah, I don't think dishonoring the Yusuke is as strong as potentially just getting one less turn out of it.
Mm-hmm. Man, that to me that conflict just elucidated just how strong these one-drop conflict characters are, and Joe's running 6 of them.
Yeah.
Playing the Wayfinder forced QQ to spend 1 more card than he would have liked. That's for sure.
Well, it's tough, right? Every card that he played was good against one character, and so you just keep spamming small characters into the conflict. And I think that's like the main reason that Lion right now it does feel like every Lion I've seen against Scorpion has felt good for Lion.
I'm being a Lion main. I actually don't mind the Scorpion matchup. I'm more afraid of certain other clans.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So we see hitting Fertile Fields, so that's also good for Joe. We also do see Void Ring.
Yep. And given that we know his hand, I don't think he's got any. I mean, if he wants to expend a Watch Commander, doesn't seem worth.
No, you have the Crab Box, so you'll go to 2.
Oh, crab box.
So you're gonna force you force the Scorpion player to play a card if they want to win.
So for Shame won't get it done because the guy's got 0 glory.
Yeah, so you would need you could court games to honor your guy, but that might be
that is an expensive card to spend.
yeah, right. You're trading court games for the reprieve. We see it though.
I'm doing it.
Now does Joe draw court games off of the Fertile Fields? That would be pretty hype.
Looking at QQ's discard now, there's 7 cards in there. There are some very high value conflict cards that he spent, especially court games and Way the Scorpion, in my opinion, and the For Shame. When you're running 2 of the Magistrates, because in my experience, the Magistrate does a lot of heavy lifting, especially against Crab, and just having 3 of those dishonor effects already spent not hitting any high value characters, I'm pretty happy.
Joe does have Cloud the Mind to point out though. Cloud the Mind is really strong against the Magistrate, where if you think you're
That's
gonna,
true.
if you think the Magistrate can hold him off, you just hit it with Cloud the Mind. I think if I'm Joe, I just accept my loss here and just sacrifice my Reprieve. I traded Reprieve for Court Games, which is reasonable. I'm still gonna have my Yusuke to get me one more card. We see Talisman of the Sun on the Yusuke.
So we're going to Shameful?
Shameful, most likely. He could go to... He could go to Rally to the Cause, which would be interesting if he has a military buff. I think it's going to be Shameful, though.
Shameful seems the most efficient, right?
Yeah, I really don't like Joe's Province lineup. I really hate...
I was just going to say, it's interesting. Both players have chosen Rally to the Cause in their list.
Well,
which is really cute.
Rally's under QQ's box, right?
Yep. Yep.
But see, Rally's in Joe's row, which is why I don't like it. Because he's got Ancestral Lands. So I do like Ancestral Lands versus Scorpion. It's really hard for them to break that.
But Rally is one of those provinces that's farmable, and Scorpion loves to farm.
It kind of points out how keepers have it rough with these water and earth provinces at the moment.
Yeah, there aren't that many impactful ones.
So does QQ have a attachment control card? Calling in favors would be kind of awkward here because it's not going to stick around, and you'll get one use out of it. So if that is his one attachment control card he has right now, it's not really what you want to play. He might play it anyway.
I'm not sure that Talisman's actually worth calling in favors either. I'm looking at that Watch Commander.
Yeah, so the main problem with Talisman, with this version of Scorpion, is you're not buying characters to stick on the board. It is very hard for Crab to beat, right? Like, especially with the Province lineup that Scorpion has, it's like they attack, you use their thing, and then you move them to Pilgrimage, or you move them to Secret Cache. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty insane.
Yeah. Yeah, moving to Pilgrimage is the most disgusting use of the Talisman, I reckon.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, you're winning the conflict, but you're done. All right, let's move to Pilgrimage. We'll cancel that.
Yeah, and especially in this particular matchup, ring effects are actually almost higher value than the provinces themselves in a way.
Yeah, Meditations is gonna be the big farm province. Joe should do everything he can to avoid breaking that. We do see a Let Go though.
Okay, so that's one of 2 Let Goes also spent, and that's 8 cards hitting the conflict discard for QQ on the first turn.
Joe's up 3 cards. He's down a lot of fate though, so we'll see. We'll see if a big Kachiko turn comes up. So Joe's gonna get voided here. I think that's fine.
And I think QQ taking a while to decide if he wanted to get rid of that Talisman is perfectly reasonable. Because Let Go, he's only got 3 attachment control cards in the deck, so big decision.
I think you have to there, because you've committed so much to this turn. If you don't, the Talisman's going to be there for 2 more turns.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that Crab came out slightly even. Being up on cards is a real big deal, where Scorpion is going to play a lot out of conflict in this matchup.
Yeah, the only problem is that there's not much honor pressure. Actually, in fact, QQ ended the turn 1 honor higher than starting honor.
That's fine. I'm actually okay with I'm okay with my opponent being higher than honor to start the game. You need as the game progresses, right? That's where you want to, because like you have to get the setup cards. Like you need spyglasses, you need cards to basically establish the lock. It's really hard to try. It's really hard to try for honor pressure from the get-go when you don't have the cards to back it up. That's just how you fall behind and then you just lose, right? Like it's like I'm gonna bid one from turn 1, no spyglass, nothing, right? Like just bank on my opponent killing themselves.
Yeah, I don't think bid 1 turn 1 is ever really correct. Another interesting thing I was going to ask you about Joe's deck is that the omission of Intimidating Heater, because in my local community the card's been picked up a bit more again. Because people are trying to put more honor pressure on.
Yeah, so we were trying it. So the slot right now is being used by Mia Satoshi. So it's like really tough to fit this card in. If you wanted to fit it in this deck, you could cut the Crisis Breakers. Which is reasonable.
Scorpion meta, it might be better. Yeah. If all you're playing Scorpion.
Yeah, so you got the Crisis Breakers. They're also just fighting against the military clans, right? 3 mana 4/2 is really strong stats.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe just
One
drops the
bid from
bid.
Joe.
See, I don't like that. I
Respect.
don't like that in this spot because your opponent was already so high on honor. Like, your opponent's at 8. What are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
It's also interesting that he bought the Crisis Breaker. I don't think this charge is gonna resolve from Joe, but we'll see.
Would you have bought Shuichi? Because Shuichi's going to be turned on for a
Mm,
while if the Imperial Palace is sticking around.
the problem with Shuichi in this matchup is his 2 glory.
Yeah.
I think he's just gonna He's gonna attempt the charge on Shuichi.
Yeah, because then it's a fate neutral cost, right? When you charge
Yeah.
him.
And then if you have a save effect, you can use the duplicate next turn.
Yeah, that's pretty hot. So if qkieu does want to cancel an event, though, it's going to be a little expensive with the 2 glory Nice.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons people like don't really like Nice in quotation marks. Like they like the effect, but they hate the fact that it gets blanked on stats.
Yeah. It just feels like you get murdered in the mirror if you don't have her, right?
Yeah, she's also really strong. Like later in the game, when
Mm-hmm.
when you're drawing less cards and you have a lot of like medium cards in your hand, like assassination later, all that stuff.
Yep. Okay. So we're just waiting on pre-conflict actions. What are you going to be using the Nice to cycle here? Are there any cards that are just dead on the conflict side for?
Yeah, let me go ahead and take a look at the list again.
Mono seems not great.
Yeah, you could cycle mono here for sure. I would definitely cycle one if I had it. I would
Mm-hmm.
cycle. Let's see. I would cycle mono. I would cycle maybe a charge if I had multiples. You could cycle an assassination. It's not
Yep.
really good right now, and I would rather see stuff like I Can Swim right now is gonna be on for pretty much the whole match. Like you can always bid
Dude, I was
twos.
going to say, the I Can Swim would be devastating if it hits like a 5 fate guy like the Crisis Breaker.
Yeah, you just swim the breaker here, and you're so far ahead.
I love I Can Swim.
Oh
I'm
sure.
glad that some lists are still playing it.
There you go. Is that easier for you, Sukesawa? Oh, Suke Isawa. We have
Alright,
we
so
have
the
meditations
decision's
here.
on qkieu to decide what sort of conflict he wants to go for, or whether he just passes. I think one good move to do is just to go for a military conflict that's kind of like a conflict you don't care about, to turn off Crisis Breaker for later.
Yeah, so this is the point we were talking about with Crisis Breaker, right? Where you do your military attack first, so the breaker doesn't get to be in two.
Mm. Yeah, it's definitely a card that is improved by going first, which is kind of nice for Crab, simply because a lot of their effects are better when they're second player.
Yeah,
So it is nice to have one card that goes the other way
that's
for them.
the same thing with the Mountain, right? Where Mountain is pretty insane going second, and it's just Gaijin Customs going first.
Yes, yep. That's a nice comparison. So Joe doesn't play Gaijin Customs, right? And is that just because the splash, the
Yeah, so the
influence
splash
so
is really tight right now. So
Hmm.
I think Gaijin Customs is actually really strong. I just think it's tough.
Yeah, you can't really kick out a Spyglass or a Talisman, I don't think.
Suge, I'm rooting for Joe here mostly because if I don't, I'll hear about it in Crab Chat. So QQ passes a conflict opportunity, which opens the door for Joe to go in with his breaker. Um, Hitting Shameful is really awkward here. He might pass this conflict opportunity also. Oh no, I see what he's doing. He's gonna do a military attack with his Yosuke at Meditations. Cause
Yeah, this is nice because then if QQ expends cards to get ahead, he can shoot in that breaker
yeah.
if he wishes.
Well, no, you don't want to bring breaker here because it's on Meditations. You want to. He's gonna try and charge.
Are we gonna go for Earth here and try and bring out those keepers?
I would try and get. I would take Fade off Rings.
Mm-hmm.
I would do Earth next turn when I'm first player, and I can set it up better.
Yeah, and you're a bit behind on the fate, so it's nice to equalize that.
Yeah, so this is one advantage against an opponent who's going to be passive is That's one thing I like about this game is you can't just sit there and do nothing, or your opponent just gains so much advantage from grabbing all the fate off the rings.
Yes, it's one reason though why first turn feels a bit like a farce these days, is because the advantage from defending is so huge in turn one.
Yeah, also the extra fate. Like I think going second is a little too strong right now. I think one. So Shenful and I were talking, and he suggested that going second, you should get the fate in conflict phase.
Like at the beginning of the conflict phase?
Yep, at the beginning of conflict phase, gain one fate, as opposed to having it in Dynasty.
I like that. It's a small adjustment.
It's a small adjustment. It might not do a lot, but it does allow for the Dynasty sides to be relatively even.
Mm-hmm. Another advantage to going second that Samuel Benny's was talking to me about was just the first ring selection on turn 2, and which is also the first turn where you get fate off rings, so you can kind of purchase things a little more aggressively, being first player on turn 2, because you know you're going to get fate off the rings.
I think it's also. I was just gonna say, I think that's also why you see nowadays a lot of past conflict opportunities turn 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because those province effects are essentially free effects that are as powerful, if not more powerful, than many conflict cards. And so there's really not much incentive anymore to go for conflicts turn 1, unless you're a really quick deck like Dragon you want to put on province pressure.
Yeah, I mean, like, some of these provinces are like multiple ring effects, like Shameful Display is double firing, Meditations is void ring.
Shameful is sickeningly ahead of everything else apart from maybe Feast, I think, and Resto.
Secret Cache and stuff. Like, I think the Clan provinces are still ahead. We don't see it right now, but Koroi Mori is actually just like unbeatable for certain clans.
I know when it's under the Stronghold and I'm playing Lion, I'm wincing.
Yeah, it's really tough. You need like a really commanding board state to break that.
You need like an Ujiaki.
Yeah, like an honored Ujiaki, and then flip some like historians while you're ahead, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we see all the scorpioning got you thirsty, I reckon, Joe says.
Oh yeah, Doji Eric says that you can just, if you do need to play the Edict on the Niece, you can pay 1 fate to remove the token, which is true.
Probably why we see it. He probably does have an Edict, and this is just the courtier that was cheaper, right? You don't want to buy Shoju to have the Edict with them.
Yeah.
This type of deck also doesn't tend to buy Shoju till like way later when you've established control.
This sort of a matchup, it feels to me like it's more likely they're not going to go to a dishonor victory for one side or the other, because it's very difficult for either player to break provinces at a quick rate, right?
Yeah, I actually think this game is going to end on dishonor. I don't think either player is going to win via conquest. Yes, Yasuke QQ passed his first conflict.
Joe's using some pickup artist language, which I love. Self-negging.
Yeah, Joe said that he scheduled this match so early because he and his wife are going to be looking at houses later this afternoon.
Oh, that's clever. Get into an L5R before the misery of that.
Yeah, that's fair. Alright, so let's see. You know, some clans actually require some thought, not like Crab. In Joe's defense, having played Scorpion and never played them before, I don't think they actually require as much thought as people think they do. All of your cards do like the same thing. It's just like, which one of my insane cards do I want to play? That's the actual thought.
Yeah, I've played a lot of Scorpion because I love the style.
Oh, they're really fun. Don't get me wrong.
They're really fun.
Yeah.
But I hadn't played them in a few weeks, and I played a deck last time, the night before, kind of similar to Photops, but with Crab Splash. And I just felt so far ahead in every game I played. Like, I actually put the deck away again. I'm like, you know what? It's time to play some other stuff for a while.
I've been playing Woodwind's deck. It's really fun.
What's that, sorry?
I said I've been playing Woodwind's list.
Oh, yeah. And how's that one different again?
It doesn't run no calling in favors. It's got some ambushes. I don't know. It's interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's a little more aggro.
Yeah, I like this. It's pretty fun.
Okay, so he's elected to not cancel the charge if he does have one.
Yeah.
And we see Shuichi in the conflict.
So we're gonna have we have to make sure Joe remembers to gain his fate. Joe's a really veteran crab player, so I don't expect him to miss it. We also have to make sure... So he did use the Yusuke already, so first action was Yusuke to look, and then he charged smart play.
So if you're qkieu here...
For shame's
okay, so there's shame. Yep, and the response is to gain a fate. If you're qkieu here, playing a fate worse than death just feels horrible right now.
You're not playing it here.
Really good targets.
Yeah, if you play it here, like that's such a victory for Joe.
Yep.
To play it here, I think would be like game almost
losing.
Not game losing, but like
game hard.
Yeah, taking the advantage bar and just like swinging it the other side, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that some of these clans it was stereotyped as being a little easier, like crab buy guys, put attachments on guys, yada yada.
I actually think that's really hard.
They're actually more intricate than that, and I feel like Lion's the same. People see the games where Lion swings and you get Ujiaki and flood the board, but there are some really tough decisions in those clans.
So I think Lion is hard, but it gets a bad rep because its game plan is simple, but executing the game plan is different, right? Like that's the thing.
Yes. Yep. That's a good distinction.
One thing, so we do see a watch commander onto this Yusuke. Interesting.
That says to me that he's got another reprieve.
Yeah, but I think you would play the reprieve first, right? Now if qkieu
to guard against assassinate.
Yeah, now if qkieu assassinates this Yusuke, sure it costs him 4 honor, but it does get rid of the watch commander.
He wants to put on the pressure. He's saying if you want to play another card, it's going to cost you every time.
Yeah, I agree, Suke. Suke says in chat, Lion is hard to build for deck building. You have to make sure your Dynasty deck flows properly. There are a lot of decisions in building Dynasty, I've found.
And there are a few trap cards in the Lion Dynasty that you think are good, but really in practice don't come good.
Like what? From an
I think
online
like it depends on your play style, but a lot of and there's the assassination.
Yep. So I mean, maybe this is what Joe is looking for, though. It does put him down to 4 honor.
Yeah, this is a little uncomfortable. And you've got hand parity, and Fate's not so bad. He's still got a 5 Fate lead.
Look, Suke, I was talking about cards that not everyone knows are bad, right? Beastmaster Matriarch, I think everybody knows. So we're going to see a favorable ground being rebuilt, because we know Joe had that rebuild. He's going to pull the Shuichi out, and then he's going to be able to covert for another attack.
If you're Joe and you've got a bonsai, do you try and win this conflict still?
No, I think you pull out, and you just take it.
I guess you could move in the Crisis Breaker and then send home Shuichi.
No, you don't want to put Crisis Breaker in the meditations.
Fate, right? Yeah.
And Joe was contesting Earth, by the way, so that was a good call by you. I think I would have gone for a Fate, though. Like, I probably would.
One of the considerations why he didn't go for the Fate because qkieu passed first, so he's going to have access to a 2 Fate ring next turn with this first conflict.
Well,
anyway.
so you want it to be an odd number of rings with 2 Fate, right? So you can grab them.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
If qkieu here takes a ring with Fate, then Joe is obligated to take another one, so that next turn he can be the one taking one with 2.
Mm-hmm.
So say you contest fire or air first, then qkieu is obligated to do a conflict on one of the other rings, or Joe also gets a second ring with Fate this turn and then takes the last ring with 2 Fate.
Yep.
So I think that's the correct line to do, just to gain. This matchup is all incremental advantage, right? You want to just slowly gain advantage.
So for the Scorpion player, it's setting up a game state where you can play qkieu and sort of just win the game, sort of mid to late game, right?
So we do see 2 of Joe's watch commanders are down right now. So I think that watch commander was aggressive by Joe. I'm not sure if it's correct. We'll see in the long run if it was, but not waiting for a character that can use it. And then the other issue here is that so we see a
Joe begging for a dishonor token removal.
That is a legal, valid play that qkieu is able to do.
I think that Illusionist is such a high value character. I mean,
We
the
do see
stat line is
Shameful, though.
great.
So
Yeah, Shameful's not great.
I wonder if he's bringing the breaker in here. I think he's just gonna honor the breaker. Oh, he drew the third watch commander.
That's pretty sick. That is pretty sick.
This makes his play make all the more sense now.
Absolutely. That's pretty revolting to have spent a let go and a 4 honor assassinate on removing both of those cards.
No,
a policy debate. Yep.
Yeah.
And then to have the third one hit the deck, with Joe only seeing 12 or 13 of his cards is pretty rough.
To be fair, I still don't like the line that Joe took, but it makes slightly more sense now. I definitely don't like wasting watch commanders in this matchup.
They do a lot of heavy lifting in this matchup, and in the games where you don't see the watch commanders, they feel really, really hard, right?
Yeah, especially with your strategy of bid 1, right? So we'll see how this works out. I wonder who you use Shameful on here is the real question. Oh, Fate Worse Than Death. See ya.
All right.
But it does cost QQ and honor.
QQ and 3.
Gonna go down to 2 from. Well, you can use Illusionist to remove the token from Illusionist.
And he has actually smartly gone for the air ring, so he's kind of foreseeing that this is a problem, being this low.
Yeah.
With only 4 cards left in hand, he's feeling it a bit.
So Joe is currently winning right now because Shuichi's back up to 3. Does QQ have like a Way of the Scorpion or something?
I think you just pay the fate.
Well, then you just crab box.
Yeah.
So a dishonor effect would be the same but not cost you fate. So Court Games or Way of the Scorpion. So he does remove the token here. So we're gonna see the crab box. Yep, Joe use box. Doesn't forget.
I think that both of these clans have 2 of the stronger strongholds. Scorpion, I think,
I think Scorpion is the best one.
It's the best.
I think Dragon and Crab are pretty up there. I think Dragon's the second best one, only because it gives both political and military, and it's just very easy to have attachments.
Yeah.
It's also just you can use it on offense, defense. It's just really versatile. And then I think the Crab and the Lion ones are actually up there too. I actually think Lion one is incredibly strong. And
I agree.
I actually think it's going to be a design limiter in some of the cards they can print for Lion.
You mean with efficient weenies?
Yeah, the problem is that like the Lion box just can add so much force.
Yeah, because even if you get 2 off it, it's like a free fan every conflict.
Well, Katana only, right? Because it only gives.
Sorry, Katana.
Yeah. Joe does have a skirmisher, Suke. We know that Joe has a skirmisher in his hand. Joe's hand right now is skirmisher and 2 unknowns, if I recall correctly. I'm pretty sure the revealed portion is all gone.
If he wants to make that second conflict, though, he's going to need a Wayfinder. Okay, there's the second Way of the Scorpion expended.
Yep. The only card we know right now in Joe's hand is a skirmisher.
Man, that is a lot of dishonor effects being spent so far. 2 for Shames, 2 Way of the Scorpions, a Court Games, and a Fate Worse Than Death. I mean, that...
Fate Worse Than Death...
If this game goes into deep waters, it's going to be hard.
So this is the problem with trying to go for these big sweeping dishonor plays, like where Joe played that Watch Commander on that Yusuke, is one resolution of the air ring, and your opponent has a lot of breathing room, right?
Mm-hmm. And especially with the Scorpion Stronghold going
Yeah,
forward.
I'm just going to gain 2, I'm going to bring my bed down for a couple turns, and I'm gonna Scorpion Stronghold.
Okay, so Joe gives up the conflict, and the air ring predictably gains QQ2 honor.
Yep.
That was an important one. It felt like a very important conflict for QQ to win. Okay, so it looks like we're going straight to the favor, which is going to go to the Scorpion again because of that Palace. And 5-0. And I'm interested to see how the bids go this following turn. If Joe continues to bid 1, or if he sort of decides he needs a few more conflict cards to
I think
to get some
I think
juice
I keep
going.
Shoju here, and then I just buy Shoju.
And start to threaten. Ooh,
He
okay, well.
doesn't. I would say you could just threaten breaks every turn with Shoju. There's like Crab can't stand against that character.
Yeah,
Oh, Blackmail
really,
Artist is really Blackmail Artist is sick here.
Yeah, that's a good pull. Hero is also pretty rough.
We can see a Wave the Crab here. I would Wave the Crab.
Would you weigh the crab even against if for instance he plays Blackmail Artist
Yes,
with no fate?
I would absolutely Wave the Crab. I would trade because it's card and fate neutral, right? It costs you 1 fate total. I would pay 1 fate to kill the Blackmail Artist or the niece.
Oh, and there's a fate there. Okay, so he clearly doesn't have one.
Or he's just waiting. Like,
or he's just waiting.
You could do it in conflict.
You sacrifice a bit of tempo, right? If you do it now.
Yeah. Your opponent's not playing anything like. Is the opponent playing Meek Informant? No. So
that's a curious omission. The no Meek Informants, because that card, I know that so largeness reckons is pretty important.
Yeah, I think Meek Informant's pretty sick.
Especially in the bid 5 turn 1 meta. So you get to kind of have access to a quarter of your opponent's deck. Wow, so he's sticking with the 1 bids. I mean, that takes some stones. I guess this turn he's going to be getting 2 cards from the Envoys and 1 from the Asuki, so
yeah,
maybe it makes sense.
This palace is pretty important here. The fact that Joe's out of Watch Commanders is a really big deal.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to make a Dishonor victory increasingly hard to pull off, especially with Blackmail Artist in play. So we might see him change gears a bit and go a bit harder in these conflicts.
So we see Joe declaring his military conflict first. Now that he's first player, probably you could do military fire. Attempt to dishonor the Blackmail Artist.
Yeah, I think fire's the hotness here.
Interestingly, going for air. I don't like.
Whew.
Wait, why is he sending this Shujusuki in against Meditations? I don't like this line. Okay, I like this line more. I like this line more.
Going back to military.
I would still send Crisis Breaker. I don't see why you're not sending your Watch Commander in. I like sending Envoy and Crisis Breaker. Military, I would do fire, and I would go to Meditations.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like,
I guess he doesn't want the Scorpion player to take air and get another 2 honor out of it. I understand the reasoning, but I think 2 fate's too big to pass up, and you still got fire effect.
Yeah, you can just like dishonor the Blackmail Artist. You know, give 1 less target for Edict, make it harder for him to win the political conflict. All these important things. Like, I want to use Shujusuki on defense, so I can activate it first.
Okay, so the niece is going to step in front, and it's going to be airing. So he's just going all out on this dishonor route, or at least denying the air to qkieu.
I can swim.
I can swim. That is pretty rough. He does have to pay an honor though, because of the Watch Commander.
Yeah, but that's not that big of a deal. Now that there are no more Watch Commanders, he's free to expend as much as he wants.
Yeah, so he can play as many conflict cards this conflict as he wishes. Nice. And that's the only copy of I Can Swim in qkieu's deck. So
yeah.
We won't be seeing that card again this game.
We have the crab coming out here. Are we gonna see
I like this play.
We see Forged Edict though.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense. It does give Joe another card for ammunition for this conflict, so maybe he picked up something he can use.
qkieu passes. qkieu only has 4 cards. If Joe finds a bonsai here, that could be interesting. It does deny the airing this turn.
Having 4 cards in hand and 3 honor is not a good feeling.
Skirmisher doesn't help here, Suke, because we do see the bonsai. qkieu has favor. qkieu has favor, so he's up to 3 right now. So we see a non-kicked bonsai. That's somewhat greedy because a conflict character like Adept of Shadows right now wins the conflict. If you kick the bonsai, the Scorpion player needs 4 force. Or sorry, 3 force, which none of their conflict characters generate. and you're not playing qkieu into this conflict. So I would have played Bonsai Kicker there. But qkieu, see, yeah. So if you play,
yeah,
if you
this
play,
is a perfect reason why you don't do that, right?
right, like if you play Bonsai Kicker here, and qqieu's then forced to, and bring himself down to 2 honor, right?
Mm-hmm. Bring himself down to 2, and then potentially lose the conflict, losing a further 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And
I think
Joe
I think that was exceedingly greedy by Joe.
Yeah, I mean, he's still on 10 honor, which is starting honor. So I agree. I think I would have gone for the kick.
All right, so this blackmail artist is gonna be really important here. If he hits rally to the cause, if he attacks a face-down province, hits rally to the cause, it's huge. He does hit rally to the cause. This is a really big swing. So blackmail artist will not be able to trigger its effect here.
Yes, that's very important.
So it's really awkward that
he's trying to ready the knees.
So qqieu does have a skill of 1 because he has military favor. Joe doesn't defend.
We're gonna see an assassination?
Maybe. That would then leave you unopposed fire, and you could dishonor the niece.
He's passing though. I think if he had the assassination, I think it's fine to play.
I'm surprised you don't defend there. I guess he wants to make sure he grabs the fate off the ring. Like now you have to go fire for sure.
Yeah, because fire forces the niece.
He's doing
to
the
defend.
earth. He's doing an earth conflict now. So,
man, I like this. This is hard out, Joe. Shout out to Joe for just ignoring fate.
Which is really funny too, right? Because Joe wrote all those articles about fate management and all these other cool things. This is so risky attacking a face-down province. If you hit shameful display, well, he knows where pilgrimage is, right? So he's not going to attack.
Oh, okay, yep.
So if you hit shameful display, it's so bad. Secret cache is also insanely bad, right? Your opponent's low on cards. You don't want to give them that card. I would attack meditations, as painful as this is.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Yep.
This is another pseudo fate loss, right? Like, if you add up fate on characters and fate you've expended and fate in your pool.
Yeah. It's obviously not ideal. If qqieu has
feels like getting those keepers is going to be big, which I understand.
If qqieu has fate worse than death, it's actually a really big deal, right? So you meditations and then you fate worse than death. And then you get to do a military fire with your niece.
Yep.
That's
one
actually
of the niece. Or,
yeah, you just break shameful then. Yeah, you break shameful. And then you re-honor your blackmail artist. That's actually really.
So we've only seen one fate worse than death played, so it's likely he's got another one, given that he's seen about half his deck, or at least possibly likely.
This also sets you up to get voided, because qqieu is going to be able to void and then grab 3 fate off the fire ring next turn.
Yeah, the fate. These 2 rings that Joe's chosen, they're like on balance, they're the best for him, but without accounting for the fate.
Interestingly, qqieu is playing Manicured Garden instead of Secret Cache. I personally think that's insane. I think Secret Cache is one of the best provinces in the game.
Yeah, well, I think that I agree, and I think many players choose Fertile Fields over Manicured, and for good reason. Given that Fertile Fields is like inferior version of Secret Cache, I don't think it's nuts too.
Well, I think Fertile Fields is clan specific, like clans that are trying for dishonor pressure or who are gonna low bid it at some points. Like I would never play Fertile Fields in Dragon, for instance.
Yeah, you don't really need it in Dragon.
There's the fate worse than death. Yep. So there's the play that I was.
Oh man, that is rough as guts for Joe. That is a horrible, horrible thing to happen.
I think this is just a symptom of the way that he's played these rings, though. I think he's misplayed the rings pretty poorly. He's not grabbing fate. So like if you grab fate off the rings, what you get to do is you instead of just losing these conflicts, you get to build advantages. Instead, you're losing these conflicts and giving advantages to your opponents.
Okay, and there's the card we mentioned. Could be a possible cycle getting spent with the niece. So is he looking for a buff?
No, you don't need to buff your military favor. You can military favor break shameful.
Yeah, feels good, man. Getting rid of shameful, always unopposed, always feels amazing.
You do. I do military fire here, and then you could even consider doing military earth.
Yep, or you do fire and then earth yourself next turn. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know why he's scouting. There's nothing. What's this last province? It's gonna be meditations. I would say there's no point in scouting. The deck lists are open, and you should know that what the last face down province is. I would go for a break.
Yeah, it's highly unlikely that Ancestral is in the row. That would be madness.
Yeah, this isn't. I think this is incorrect. Also, I would just break Shameful. Then you have two farmable provinces and Rally and Meditations, and you never have to go to Fertile Fields again. But yeah, I can't think of any reason not to take a break.
Yep, I'm with you. Suki says in chat that Heinzel made a good point about Manicured versus K. She says he was beating 5 every turn anyway, so he needed the Fate more. I understand the reasoning. I just don't. I think in practice, if you simulated 1,000 games with each deck, you'd probably have more success with K. So that's my guess, but I don't know for sure.
So
another bonsai, sick.
Interesting. He's breaking Meditations. Meditations is the second easiest province to farm for the Scorpion deck. I think this is incorrect. I would expend 0 cards and break Shameful Display. And then if my opponent plays the Skirmisher, like we're seeing here,
gross. So he's going to be able to use the Stronghold and force
save it.
QQ to either play another card or give up that break.
I would not have done this if I was Joe. I would have let QQ break. Why do I care if Meditations on the Dow is broken? What is this province doing for me?
Yeah, it's not like we're playing to tiebreakers.
Yeah, exactly.
In a real game, you might consider it if it was tight and it was coming up to an hour.
So, Suki, the reason that I think Secret Cache is better, so in practice, you want to bid 5 every turn, right? But you're not actually bidding 5 every turn. You're going to have to cut your bid down against people who are going to try and dishonor you. It's just not reasonable in some matchups to bid 5 every turn. And so getting an impulse effect is just insane.
Plus, how good does it feel when you pull that Assassinate with their Cautious Scout or whatever the nasty character is?
Yeah. It's just one of those things that like Secret Cache has incremental advantage over the long game, especially later in the game. Fate becomes less important.
So that's the first Iron Mine we've seen, and we still haven't seen a Steadfast Witch Hunter
or Casada.
Yeah, Joe's had a bit of a rough dynasty. Apart from the Keepers, which have kept the conflicts really interesting, he's had a bit of a rough dynasty draw. These Sukis have been good, though. They've been doing some work.
So Zero Actress can actually grab Yusuki and grab a card for a Scorpion.
That's pretty vile. Borderlands Defender is also pretty nice. Crisis Break is pretty nice as well.
qkieu on Visor nice too.
So the Heater Guardian's going to be pumping up that Satoshi pretty hard this turn. Man, that last turn was not good for the Crab.
So Lenath, I agree these flops aren't helping him. I, however, think that Joe's lines of play have not helped him, where he's been giving up incremental advantage of Fate on rings.
Yeah, I think in the previous turn where he went for both air and earth and couldn't win either of the conflicts.
Was turn 2 on turn 2, right?
Win one.
Well, turn 2 he could have gotten Fate off of 2 rings, but he chose to go for earth.
And last turn 3 it was the same, and he didn't win either conflict, and so he didn't get either of the 2 most powerful ring effects for him at that point off. So in that situation, why don't you hedge your bets and go for a little bit of Fate and make up that Fate loss that you've been experiencing all game?
Playing a skirmisher to stop or break on Meditations is incorrect, in my opinion. I want Rally Meditations to break as fast as possible.
So he's preventing the honor loss. Does he see is he seeing a lot more longer range impact of that losing another honor?
Yeah, we saw the bonsai not being kicked. That was another mistake in my opinion. As QQ would be at 1 less honor right now.
Yeah, so Joe is favoring a low honor loss strategy, right? He's been defending every conflict he can. Nix is saying that Cache actually helps you manage Fate too, since you can pick a card that you can play more effectively. That is
right. Like
true.
like if I cash into Fate Worse Than Death or Way the Scorpion, I can take Way the Scorpion because it's just cheaper for me to cast, right?
Mm-hmm. And if you're considering playing, say, a Fate Worse Than Death or a Mirror Modus Fury against a 2-drop, and you cache and you get an Assassinate, well, okay, I'll take the free card.
Exactly.
Alright, so what are we expecting in this conflict phase? QQ's first player. I think Hiroe is going to make an appearance in one of these conflicts.
I would do... I would just do political void.
Yep, get the 2 Fate.
I would do political void with the artist and Hiroe. If Joe doesn't defend, you can pull... You can actually send all your characters in because you have blackmail artist. You could do political void. If Joe doesn't defend, you pull in Mia Satoshi.
Yep.
Like, I actually don't want to break Rally to the Cause. I just want to win. I want to win, steal my honor, and then keep Rally to the Cause there.
Yeah. It may not be an option, though. But if you're Joe, you're kind of hamstrung into defending with both characters, I think, in a way. Because if you don't defend with any, then the Satoshi just gets annihilated.
You could defend with just the Guardian and see if he wants to pull Satoshi in.
Yeah. But then Hiroe, if he does win, Hiroe dishonors the guy.
Yeah, it's tough to win. It'll be tough to win though, right? Because between the crab box and +4/+4 from the Guardian, that's 5 more stats.
Yep.
So he would go up to 10 versus 8, 9, 10 on board. So Joe just seems like a fan. It's tough.
Yeah, that's a fair. Alright, so he's just deciding... He had all 3 of his characters selected for a minute, and he's gone back to the tank. This point in the game, when you're on 3 honor and you're at 3 hand size and no provinces are broken, you're feeling the squeeze. The last turn went well for you, but you're feeling the pinch, and you really want to get that blackmail artist effect off. Joe's being a braggart in chat, saying he's got his tiebreakers are better than QQ's. Okay, so he's gone and selected all 3. And what ring are we looking at?
Joe just defends with both.
Okay, he's gone for air, so that's curious. So he's seeing air as a big priority.
Interesting that he's defending with just me as Satoshi. I would defend with just the Guardian so that my opponent is breaking.
Yeah, that seems like a weird one.
If Joe defends with all and uses everything on board, it's 10 to 10, Suke.
So could this be because Joe has another conflict character and he wants to use...
Oh, no, he's a policy debate.
Alright. So this is going to be a 1-to-1 bid, almost certainly. Yeah.
So if Joe bids 1, he goes to 5. QQ would have to bid 3 to tie. I will take my 5 minutes here. What? So it's 5 plus 2, 7. Oh no, it's 11. You're right. No, yeah, 11 to 10. So yeah, he's winning on board. I'm sorry, I missed the Guardian stats.
I love this. These guys are slow playing in an untimed format. Fucking genius.
Even Anil knows it, man. Come on. Yeah, it's 11 to 10, guys. Come on, man. I don't have that much sleep. Cut me some slack. My math is slightly off.
To be fair, even when I'm fully sober and caffeinated, I would have got the maths wrong.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright. So looking at the discard, you don't want to expend the actress until the next conflict, right?
Why is it 11 to 9? 8, 4, 7. Oh, it's 9. Jeez, I'm so dumb. Yeah, it's 11 to 9. Maybe that's where I thought it was 10 to 10. I plus 10 minus 1. So we see the niece. Or wait. Oh no, he takes Add Up to Shadows. Assassinate Court Games.
So he feels like court games isn't going to be impactful, and he's
Joe could have his
I
own court
understand
games.
it. Assassination's a dead card at this point.
Yeah.
Would you have taken the court games?
No, I would take the character that can be in multiple conflicts.
Mm-hmm. So that is, I believe, the second court games.
If I had this line, I would have defended with the Guardian too. I think it's incorrect to defend with the Guardian. The Guardian's not going to win an attack because of the actress.
So is he thinking, if I defend with Satoshi, I can policy debate and remove the fate worse than death? Is he concerned about fate worse than death?
Yeah, for sure, right? Like that's what the policy debate is really strong here, right? It gives you a proactive thing to do against an opponent who's trying to be reactive, right? Whereas the problem is if you don't defend with both here, you're not going to win the conflict, and we're going to see 3 honor for the Scorpion player. 1 from the artist, 2 from the airing.
Yeah, and then on the counterattack, I mean, the actress can blow up and bring back a big beefcake like a Borderlands defender, and then it's going to be really hard.
You can just bring back Crisis Breaker, too.
Or Crisis Breaker, exactly, yeah.
I mean, like, if you think Joe's got nothing, you could just bring back qkieu Envoy with military favor. He has more strength.
Yeah. Well, anytime you can draw a card at this point in the game is going to be big.
Yeah, draw a card, gain a fate. That sounds like Scorpion to me.
Okay, so qkieu's passing. He's just saying, I'm breaking. I'm getting my effects off.
I would absolutely take this break if I was Joe. I mean, I would not invest any cards in the saving rally to the cause.
I don't even know what he would have that could help him win this. I think you're right.
Plays court games. I'm surprised he didn't choose to honor me as Satoshi.
He is going hardline dishonor.
So, Tenerum, you're saying after you gain the 3, you then assassinate the Guardian? That's fair. I can see that is reasonable.
Oh man, this is such a tense game.
Oh, a Talisman of the Sun.
Shameful Display is coming up. I'm sniffing a shameful.
It doesn't stop anything?
Can it prevent the break if he puts it on Hero Way and uses his box?
Well, he has to win the conflict, right? If he doesn't win the conflict,
yeah.
So shameful. He's gonna honor Satoshi,
sort of
dishonor.
Somewhat reversing the honor gain he's gonna get, right, by putting 2 dishonor tokens.
Attacker is still. Oh, he dishonors the actress, so he's just gonna go. He's going hard on dishonor strategy now.
And we see the court games played.
To re-honor the actress, so it's 8 to 6. Imagine if he just defended with his Guardian. Does he have a fan?
Yeah,
he has a fan. Like Joe needs a fan right here. Flips a duplicate me Satoshi.
Is he looking for holdings that he can rebuild? Is he looking for anything in particular, do you think?
Maybe another keeper.
Maybe another keeper.
He didn't hit one, he still has only the 2. Joe asking the hard-hitting questions here. Oh, the assassination on the Guardian doesn't do anything, by the way. Tenerum, he's got Iron Mine, so even after he wins this air ring, and the assassination won't work.
Yeah, I think in hindsight he should have just defended with both and just crushed.
If this was his line, right, to just try and dishonor, like you could definitely just defend with the Guardian. You prevent the artist and you prevent the aerial.
2 honor gain. Yep.
This does let Joe attack with Void, grab the 2 fate, but I guess he's gonna water first.
Well, is he gonna be able to get through a Borderlands defender or a Crisis Breaker?
No, so you go for Void then, right, to just grab the fate.
Yeah.
You can't attack meditations. I attack Pilgrimage. I attack Pilgrimage here.
Just knowing you can't win the conflict anyway, right?
Yeah, and so my opponent is gonna block, right, because they don't want to take it unopposed. You could even, yeah. I think that's better.
Man, now the honor's at 6-7. That was such an insane swing.
Yeah, right. Like, say Joe just blocks there, right? Then after Blackmail Artist dies, it's 8-2. Hits Shameful Display.
Oh man, and he's gonna get a Shameful off, so he's gonna get another honor gain.
Yep.
And he's gone for the Earth Ring. Okay, so he wants that second conflict coming up with the Keepers if he can.
Well,
I don't see how he wins this.
Handsome Dan, he doesn't care about unopposed, but he's not going to get another attack off, so he would use the actress to prevent the unopposed anyway. Because you need a character to declare for the actress to be used on offense here.
It's crazy how different being at 3 honor is to being at 6.
Sure. I'm pretty sure qkieu might pull an envoy here.
You think it's a little risky?
Is it though? Yeah, I guess it is risky, right?
You don't want to lose the conflict.
Oh no!
If you lose the conflict,
you can pull Vanguard Warrior. Joe milled a Vanguard Warrior.
Oh, that would be sick, actually.
Right, so you just pull Vanguard Warrior.
Keep the artist.
Yeah, Vanguard Warrior goes up to 3. It goes 3-1, and then you can use your Vanguard Warrior to save your Blackmail Artist. That'd be dope.
Yeah, so he's going to be at 4 skill once Shameful goes off because of the favor as well.
Oh yeah. So 4-1, and so he is out of bonsai. So if Joe does have his third bonsai, we could see it. Well, no, Shameful's gonna bring it down. Interesting that he goes for Crisis Breaker. He doesn't use Shameful Display.
That's clearly a mistake. It's just like a brain fade, right? You just forget to do it.
Yeah, there's just no reason not to use it there. Yeah, that's just wrong.
Maybe he was just thinking in his head, I just need to win the conflict, prevent the Keepers.
Yeah, maybe he just passed too quickly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Alright, so Joe's board's actually pretty decent here, right? He's gonna keep... He might just keep his entire row here. Keep the Misoshi dupe. You could pitch the Palace here, actually. I might consider pitching Palace here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you can get Ascendancy in this turn, then you're likely to get the favor again, regardless.
Yep. Yeah, he does. He pitches it.
Cool. It's way better when you're staring down a... There he is.
Kasada on a small board like this, with small hands, is really, really big.
And especially considering 2 of the 3 Fate Worse and Deaths have been spent. So it's unlikely we'll see that in this game. So it's going to be tough. And being first player against Hiraway is always nice, because then he can't just waste one of your characters with a poke. So maybe Joe's decision-making last turn was sort of more forward-looking.
Well, so it was if he just doesn't... Like, there's 3 Fate on this Void Ring, so Joe's going to go for Void here. Absolutely going to go for Void.
Yep, and he's going to strip her away, presumably.
Yeah. I would do military Void with my Hida Guardian. At, oh, you can't go...
This might be the turn that we start seeing Joe pivot to a conquest.
You could see Joe go for a meditation or a pilgrimage break here.
Yeah.
Oh, but then Yunako gets
brought. Yunako gets brought in as well, so that's a lot of fate spent. I believe he had like 11 or 12 at the beginning of the
13.
turns. 13, wow.
Joe says, sorry for the boring game. He won't let me win a conflict. So qkieu is 3 to Joe's 1. qkieu's gonna steal.
I love Joe. He's got such a good sense of humor. So yeah, Joe's sticking to the 1 bid. And we're seeing them rush into the conflict phase. So with Joe being first player,
you have to go for Void Ring. You have to get this.
You have to go for
get
Void.
Fate. Like, you just need Fate. Imagine if Joe had been stockpiling Fate like qkieu had, where he's just been taking Fate off all the rings and just getting more and more Fate. He could have played Kasada with like 4 Fate.
Yeah, he would have had at least 4 or 5 more Fate than he does.
Right, you just play Kasada with like 4 Fate, and you're just like, all right, he's gonna be here for the rest of the game. Like, have fun burning actions over and over again.
I'm really liking. If I'm Joe, I'm liking that I got the talisman in play at least for this turn and potentially next turn with the Iron Mine there. Just redirecting these attacks into Shameful is going to be really big. Okay, so passing pre-conflict actions. Okay, so he's just going to poke to get the Fate. Okay, he's going for air. This is... He wants to deny qkieu the airing?
I guess.
Man, this feels like so funny. He just keeps doing it.
All right. So here's one thing I'll say. I will give Joe credit for keeping his game plan alive. Right? This has been his game plan.
Yeah, he's a dedicated bloodhound for that honor win. Nick says 3 Fate brackets. Fuck it. I love it.
So you can defend with Hero A here and pull in, or I guess you have to burn an action first. You could burn the Soshi. You can burn Sinister Soshi, and then you can pull in a character and meditations them.
Yeah, but either... Okay, so this is political, so if you pull in Quesada, you might still be able to stop the break as well.
Do you care if this gets broken? Your other 3 provinces are just better, right?
Yeah.
You just don't... Yeah, right, like... So you defend with Hero A.
If you're Joe, like, doing the 1 point of honor damage isn't the goal. The goal is to prevent qkieu from gaining 2 the other way, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, he's gonna defend a win, right? So you could use your favorable ground if you're not planning on leaving, and just burn that action. And he does. Yep.
Oh, okay.
That's smart. That's intriguing. That's smart. I think that's correct. So now you're gonna pull in Quesada. And then
couldn't you have pulled in Quesada and then run away with Hero A?
No, you have to burn an action to cancel, right? You'd have to burn the Sochi. Yeah, right. Like, but that costs a Fate. If you you also don't.
It's expensive.
You also win the conflict this way, so you don't lose an honor. I think this is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Suke also pointing out that if you win the conflict, it also turns off Quesada for the rest of the turn.
That is a very important consideration that totally slipped my mind. Yeah, that's a very important part of it.
Luke in chat saying for Joe, Fate is truly worse than death. Yeah, Joe has become allergic to Fate. This is the same guy that wrote all those articles on Fate management.
Okay, so we see a policy debate and Cloud the Mind, Court Games, and Reprieve.
Probably takes Reprieve, if I had to guess. You could take...
Yeah,
you could
although
take the court
Quesada
games. Yeah, it takes Court Games. That's fair, too.
Yeah. Cloud would have also been okay, I think.
Well, he doesn't have any issue guys,
I guess
right?
that Cloud's useless, yeah.
Yeah, Cloud needs a Witch Hunter or a pony, Wayfinder.
Still haven't seen a Witch Hunter. It's just nuts.
He hasn't milled one either, so he is statistically due for one soon. Yep.
I had a game in a top 4 match recently where I had 3 Spirit Callers in the bottom 4 cards of my Dynasty deck.
It's rough.
Pretty rough. Yeah.
Wait, qkieu needs more cards. He's actually tied right now.
Heater Guardian, baby.
Yeah. qkieu needs any card, basically. It has to be a Dishonor effect on the Guardian, though. It can't be a Dishonor effect on Quesada. The I Can Swim is gone, so Quesada is safe.
And he has spent he spent 2 court games, 2 for shames, and both of his Way of the Scorpions, given that he's only running 2. So
and he doesn't have the Fate.
Unlikely he's got another one.
He doesn't have the Fate for Fate Worse Than Death either. So yeah, Joe wins the conflict. Interesting. I don't like this. I didn't like this line from qkieu. If this was his line. if this was the line, you just defend with Hero A. You leave your liar back, right? So then you still prevent the break because you're gonna policy debate and you take any political buff. Yeah. I think it's better to just defend with Hero A in that situation then. The pog
or you
chance
throw
to go off
another guy and you guarantee the win, right?
Say that again.
You throw in another guy like an illusionist or someone and just guarantee
So
the
you either
win.
throw in 3 guys or 1 guy.
Or just the one, yeah.
Or you defend with Yunako and Hero A, and Yunako can
Yep.
swap himself to go to 4 also.
Yep, yep.
You said it's just onboard math, right? So it's 4 plus 2 plus 1.
So he must have forgotten about
Favor.
Garden's ability.
He must have forgotten about
And
favor.
favor, yeah.
Yeah, he's had the favor like the whole game. So Luke says Scorpion loses a conflict. The tournament rules for this game are that if that happens, they lose the game, right?
There's going to be an alternate rules variant that's rule for sure.
All right, Nix. This better not be anything bad.
Are you at all worried about the state of this game when we've been playing? I don't know how long we've been going because I haven't been timing it, but we're sitting here and there are no provinces broken.
It's we've been streaming for an hour and a half. I would say gameplay has been about an hour and 15 minutes.
So these sorts of games, right, that are going these lengths and no provinces are being broken, like, are we going to see these at Kotai's? Or
No,
are people
it's
structuring their decks and strategies differently?
No, Joe pointed out very very clearly that in paper he would have won already on tiebreakers.
Yeah, with the higher honor versus favor.
Yeah, exactly. And so the thing is, I think the Discord League is good practice for paper tournaments. I don't think it is the only practice you should have for paper tournaments, because
Yeah, I'm with you.
You do face high levels of competition, but I do think that there are strategies that are viable here that are not viable in paper, and the issue is that having no time limit lets strategies like this be viable, and that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? It's a bad thing because it's not realistic, and it's a good thing because it's not realistic, right? You're not going to see these types of games in paper, so it's like it answers that what if question.
And also, in a way, it's a more pure version of the game, right? Because, I mean,
yeah, it's just going to go to its natural conclusion, right?
Yeah. I do find it curious. It's interesting because in a real game, the Scorpion would be compelled to play a little bit more aggressively, play things like Yojimbo earlier, and try and hunt provinces a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Which kind of changes the game a lot. Like, it means the Crab's going to get return breaks, and the game would play out so much differently, I think. And like earlier we were talking about, oh, he doesn't need to break here. In fact, he doesn't want to break because he just wants the ring effect. And it's like, well, in a real game, you actually do want that break.
Yeah.
I keep saying real game. I mean a live game in a tournament
A paper game, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So, we're going to see QQ go for Void here, almost assuredly. Because QQ is not allergic to fate.
He doesn't come from the Hanamoto Joe from Cincinnati School of Philosophy on L5R, does he?
Luke, Joe's been paying QQ's taxes for this whole game by not taking the fate off the rings. Just been sending a stipend over his way pretty much every turn.
Yeah, it's the reverse levy.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Look, I love Joe so much, but mostly the reason I find this so shocking, and I just keep harping on it, is that Joe literally wrote the strategy for, like, important fate management and getting the passing fate and doing all these things. Like, he was one of the first proponents of all this stuff, and he's just thrown it all out the window for this weird game plan that very clearly wasn't going to work.
I guess he feels like in this particular matchup, that strategy is the only way.
Interesting. I would go to a different province, and I would force Joe to use the talisman.
Like, go to Shameful, given that you're coverted?
No, I would go to Fertile Fields and threaten the Iron Mine. It does suck giving a card, but you threaten the Iron Mine.
Mm-hmm. Because if you're Joe, are you finally willing to give up a break here?
Yeah, I absolutely let Rally to the cause break. See ya.
Yep.
Peace.
And you save the talisman for the follow-up conflict if there is one.
Yeah. The other 3 of your provinces are all sick with talisman, right? Like, you get multiple activate. They all have activated abilities, right? So any province that gets attacked, you use it first, and then you move.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Insanity. If those are the rules we're playing, we're about to see Joe lose. First player to break province wins.
The sudden death variant.
Yeah.
Dragon Crab just wins every time. All right, rally is broken. And Hida Kisada is down to 0 fate, which is important because it's going to force Joe to decide if he wants to keep Talisman or Kisada. I think it's going to be Kisada. Maybe as a charge for that Vanguard Warrior. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
okay,
we know.
So he's hit manicured.
Yeah, imagine if this was Secret Cache. If this is Secret Cache, how sick would that be?
Yeah.
Right? You get to look at the top 5 cards. You get to take out like away the Scorpion or something, and just be like, see ya. Like, I don't know. I can't agree that Manicure Garden is correct. And we see qkieu win an Earth conflict.
I'm at least glad that people are trying it out because I think we're in a period of flux in the game where we're really just trying to figure things out and figure out, you know, which cards give what benefits and what penalties they have as well.
I think this meta is pretty solved. I do not think we're in a state of flux.
You don't think there's 1 or 2 code ties coming up that don't have the new pack out?
It should just be one,
legal,
right?
right?
It's just Paris.
Just Paris. Okay, so you think we'll just see a repeat? You know, Scorpion in the top cut.
No. I mean, obviously there will be Scorpion. I don't think we'll see a repeat of it being dominant. This will be the first tournament with a large number of players, right? We have, according to some of the French players, we have 400 plus players already signed up. Give me Grand Prix Grand Prix level entrants, like 600, 500 plus people, and that's where you can extrapolate strong data.
All right, so we're seeing a reprieve for Kisada and the Iron Mine Hida Guardian. Oh, what's going on here? Let go. Oh, I see. He's missed his action window, and
well, no, he missed. Yeah. Okay, so he's gonna use Iron Mine to save Kisada, and then he just sacrifices the Guardian.
Yep, that's reasonable.
And now the Vanguard Warrior can save Kisada also.
One thing that I found curious about Cork was the number of Phoenix in their cut. There were a lot of high achieving Phoenix, and I think almost all of them met their demise at the hands of Scorpion.
Yeah, that matchup was really hard.
Yeah. I'm a little worried about Phoenix. If Phoenix get ahead of Scorpion in that head-to-head matchup, it feels like they can take over the field pretty hard. They got some really strong deck.
I feel confident versus Phoenix's Dragon, but that's just me.
Yeah, Dragon's one of the matchups still pretty good.
So we see qkieu with a billion fates still. We see Joe finally hit a Witch Hunter. Joe doesn't have any small characters to use the Witch Hunter with, though.
It is nice to have that Vanguard Warrior. So he's probably going to play that this turn, right? Keep Kisada around.
You have to keep Kisada around.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice strategy if you're able to bring the Scorpion player to this point where he's forced to be bidding 1 and he's got 1 card in hand, because it means that, I mean, the power of their deck is clearly in the conflict side, and so just removing those options is a strong way to do it. Takes a while, it seems, to enact this strategy.
Yeah, look, see, qkieu buys his board and still has 5 fate. Because he's been getting...
is sickening.
He's just been getting all the fate off the rings, right? He's gotten 3 fate, 2 fate, 2 fate. Like, he's just gotten, like, 10 fate off of rings. Joe's gotten, I think, like, 1, maybe 2.
So we're on turn 6, and I believe since turn 2, he's just been mashing air and earth.
Yep, and he hasn't won any of them. Oh, he won 1 air conflict, I'm sorry.
Like 1 airing off, yeah.
Yeah, imagine if you're getting fate with all these conflicts, and you're making your opponent expend cards, and you're building incremental advantage. This game has gone 6 turns. Incremental advantage is the name of the game.
I think it's interesting, but I do think that, like, by the 3rd time you go for the Earth Ring, you got to be thinking to yourself, the guy's got 1 card left in his hand. Surely at this point I'll be able to win the ring.
It's an assassin.
So turn after turn, you want to keep doing it.
qkieu's hand currently is Assassination, 2 unknown cards.
Yep, so the Assassination is currently unplayable.
Nick says in chat, if Joe smashes air ring again instead of taking 2 fate off a ring and ends up winning, I don't know how this game works anymore. I have to agree with you there. We see a lot of burnable actions from qkieu here. We have a favorable ground. We have multiple activated abilities on characters.
I think Joe's the type of player who's a true innovator. Like, he's always thinking ahead, and so I'm not going to condemn the strategy. I mean, in this game, it's clearly been sucking a bit of his fate advantage away. But there's a reason he's doing it, right?
Sometimes you get too fancy for your own good, or sometimes you you overthink things, right? Where strong fundamental play is just always. Luke says, with the firing, which can be used as dishonor at 2 fate, I'll die inside if he picks air. If I'm qkieu here, I do political water.
Yeah, that seems really strong.
I would do water. And just threaten the Bao and Kasada. Joe hasn't played a small character yet. He's drawn 1 card since last time, and he's already played 2 skirmishers and a wayfinder.
So do you just hit up meditations with the illusionist, the liar, and the actress?
Yeah, I like that. You don't need to send that many if you don't want to. You could just send like 1 character.
Yeah, and then you got favorable ground to eject if you want to reuse it.
Well, you don't want to eject, right? Like you want to threaten the Bao.
Yeah.
So you could send 2 characters, and then if Joe doesn't defend, you can just leave.
Tanarim saying, yeah, sacrifice the Vanguard Warrior before the watering goes off.
Sure, but then you're also susceptible. Like it just makes him do it before it's in the conflict, right?
Wow, so he's sending a lot of skill into this conflict.
He's like not like the dishonor game is like not even there. Joe doesn't have Watch Commander anymore.
Yeah, the only way he's going to dishonor this Scorpion is by recycling his deck and playing Watch Commander again.
What is happening? This can't possibly be a realistic attack.
So he's wanting to harpoon somebody and then eject.
Man, Joe saying playing in Scorpion is literally torture. I can't agree with Joe. I don't think Joe has played perfectly to like complain. I'm of the opinion that unless you play perfectly, you always have something that you could have done better.
Yeah, I understand the sentiment, and like you're playing for almost 2 hours and you haven't broken a province and you're a big strong military clan. Like I understand the guttural reaction to it.
So
but I do agree.
The one thing I will point out is that qkieu has taken, I would say, a decent amount of time. I'd say qkieu has taken a long time on some of his decisions, and in a paper tournament I would have said something, whereas online I'm more remiss to not say anything because I just tab out and do something else.
Yeah, so I'm running a league, an Australian league. It's kind of like just like a regular Swiss tournament on Discord. And the first season we had no time limit, and there were a couple games in the Swiss that went for like 3.5 hours. And so I was just like, all right, fuck this. I ended up making it 90-minute time limits.
That's fair.
I think that's like a decent compromise.
Yeah, that's fair.
But when I play, I like to record if I'm testing a deck, for instance, on Jigoku, I like to record how long the games go for, and if I would have won a modified victory had the time went. So that's something I'm always considering, because I'm mainly training to play live games.
Yeah. I use Jigoku to train to practice for PAX South, having never played in paper before, and I never even came close to going to time.
All right, that was your first ever time playing live games.
Yeah, in paper, yeah.
That's very impressive.
Well, I'm like a Magic veteran, right? Like I've been playing competitive Magic for almost 2/3 of my life.
Yeah, right.
So paper tournaments aren't even that big of a deal. Like I actually had like a huge advantage over like a lot of the field. A lot of the players were like complaining towards the end of the tournament, like how they were tired. I'm like, this tournament's so short. You play one game matches, like 50-minute rounds. Like this is no big deal. Where I'm used to.
Aren't there some Magic tournaments with 14 fucking rounds and
they used to be. Yeah, they used to be like that for sure. GPs nowadays are they actually cut them down from 9 rounds to 8 rounds, so it's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah, see, I played professional poker for a while.
Oh, okay, sure.
And
so you
have marathon sessions.
Time.
So yeah, I was... Okay, so what's happening here? Okay, they're just moving in the liar, and we're waiting on Joe to decide if he wants to defend. do you think this matchup in particular is quite torturous? Is it just like both clans defend well, and so you don't get these big resolutions early in the game, and it takes a while for you to express your advantage, right? In this matchup.
Kind of. I think it's also been torturous because both players are being a little bit deliberate with their play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. When I see some people play, I'm just like, why are you taking this long? I think that a lot of players haven't gotten into the mindset of thinking about what they should be doing on their opponent's turn. Like, when I make an attack, I've already thought of pretty much every possibility that my opponent could do that's favorable for them, right? So it's like, I attack here. If he plays Fury, what am I gonna do? If he blocks and plays for Shame, what am I gonna do? If he plays Court Games, what am I gonna do? Like, I already know what they're gonna do. So it's like okay, if he plays Court Games, I'm gonna Court Games back. If he Furies, I'm gonna pass. If he blocks and plays for Shame, I'm gonna choose to bow. Like, I've already thought of all the lines, and so as soon as they do it, I respond, and that's why, like, I'm just a really quick player in both Magic and this. It has come back to bite me in the past where, like, I've gone too fast, but I do find that it's just the way I like to play. It also can sometimes give you an advantage.
I think going quickly definitely helps you in Swiss, right? If you have like 7 rounds in a Kotai or whatever, going quickly, not making it to time, it's important to be able to do that.
Also, any extra time you have is just time you get to rest, right? You get to just relax after your round's over.
Yep. Go have a coffee in between rounds or whatever.
Yeah, just chill. Like, I just sit down and chill.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I think that is important if you're going to go to a big tournament that you really care about doing well in is to drill one deck a lot, and then you develop heuristic shortcuts for yourself.
Yep.
Like you were saying, I know what he's going to do. If he plays this, I'll play this, and so on. That comes with experience. Those become automatic, and that's where you want to be with your deck if you're really wanting to make a tilt at
So Joe doesn't defend.
Tournament.
Joe doesn't defend. We see Vanguard, or we see Cloud the Mine and Hero Ace, so he can't pull anything because he now has the Witch Hunter, and then we see the Vanguard Warrior put a Fate on the Kasada.
It's a clever play. Very clever.
So Kasada is turned off right now.
And favorable ground.
It was used to cancel Kasada.
Unicos. I think that was...
Right? Oh, no, it wasn't.
Oh, yeah, no. Unico's ability was cancelled, but the favorable ground went off. Yep. Okay, so we finally see some break pressure being applied to the crab. If you're Joe here, he's still going for this dishonor condition. I mean, it's been 7 rounds, right? And he hasn't got off a single Earth Ring to get these keepers. I think they've been a bit of a trap.
Nix's picture in chat is pretty fantastic. I'm gonna go ahead and just copy this for later. Save this to give to Joe later.
Oh man, that is a fucking good one.
I just bookmarked this. We'll hit Joe with this later.
We know he can take it at least.
All right.
That is
Joe's gonna get his. Joe's like, I'm getting my Earth Ring right now. I actually think Earth Ring isn't that bad here, because you're gonna get your keepers.
Yeah, and you can use one of those keepers to ready a big boy like Kasada to defend.
Yeah, it's gonna be a military conflict, so you just stand Kasada.
He said, "Fuck this! I want a province break." Round 7, damn it.
Yeah. I don't think I would have sent Mia Satoshi, and by that I mean I definitely wouldn't have sent Mia Satoshi. There is no way the Scorpion player can defend. Oh wait, if Scorpion has the 3rd Fate Worse Than Death here, they can defend, or they could defend if you only sent the 2.
Yeah, and then you use Unico on the Witch Hunter or whatever. Oh no, Unico's cancelled, so she doesn't have her ability.
No, yeah, you would defend with Unico and the Illusionist, which would be 5 versus 4.
You get the favor.
Yeah.
Favor with 1.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Okay. So he's just opposing to prevent the honor point, which is important. He's at 3, so it makes a lot of sense.
And man, imagine if that was Secret Cache, where qkieu has 8 Fate already, and he could have maybe got the 3rd Fate Worse Than Death.
Yep.
I'm I'm just pointing out that having that fate versus the cards like is a very poor argument right here. QQ went from 8 to 9 fate. Woo!
I do think that at this point in the game, that's 100% right. But maybe earlier on, the fate makes a difference, like turn 1 and 2. I don't know.
We see that assassination being discarded, which is really awkward because that's the one dead card in QQ's hand.
Yeah, that sucks. So you finally got the Earth Ring after a long time, and it's assassinate.
Man, Nix, just keep these ready for next time Joe says anything in Crab Chat. We just need to hit him with this. Hit him with all these. This is another good one. Alright, well, I've got these saved. I'm ready.
You are a funny bastard, Nix. I had no idea he was so funny.
Yeah, Nix is a good dude. You should just come out and hang out in Crab Chat for a little bit. Like, we've had, like, everyone come and hang out for a little bit just to see how awesome it is. It's like...
Yeah, I actually heard from a guy down in Melbourne here that Crab Chat was, like, going off, popping off when I first joined the Discord. And I'm like, man, I gotta stick to my clan, but it kind of sucks that I can't have both.
Yeah. I usually just hop into Dragon Chat just to see what's happening every now and then, but then I always come back.
Lion Chat's been picking up a bit lately. There's been some good discussions going on.
Yeah, but see, that's discussions. Crab Chat doesn't have
Yeah.
discussions. We just meme.
Just bullshit and memes.
Yeah, exactly. Talk about random stuff all the time.
Yeah. It's totally crab-like. I love it.
Yeah. Tenerum Nix's sashimi. Yeah, we had like Kratos join Crab Chat. We had a bunch of dragons come over. All right, so
Okay, so
we
that
see a policy
I believe that's
debate.
the second policy debate.
Reveals charge and edict. I get rid of edict here. My opponent has 9 fate. Who cares if he has charge?
Yep, agreed. Even if you don't have an impactful event now, it can be important later.
All right. Now here's the real question, folks. Does Joe go for the firing here with his keeper? All right. Here in chat, type 1 if you think Joe goes for firing, and 0 if he goes for airing. I need to see this in chat.
Okay, so he goes for charge instead of the edict.
Wait, why? That's insane.
All right. It's because he's going for that dishonor strat, bro. He wants him to dishonor himself.
All right. Chat has not lost faith in Joe.
Dude, he's done it for 5 turns in a row. I mean, he's balls deep in this
Ham
strat.
hops
He ain't gonna...
zero.
That's ugly. That is ugly.
I just have to hit Joe with a lol here. Because Joe says you and I both know you have no actions when he very clearly has an action.
Dealing Vanguard Warrior is a very, very good use of the actress. It feels so busted every time you do that. Man, I reckon he's going to go for fire simply because he has 0 fate.
Well, that hasn't stopped Joe in the past. I'm just saying, like, if this game is an indication of anything, that has not stopped him before.
Dude, you gotta respect a man who goes to the end of the earth for his beliefs, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I still don't know why he took this charge. I can't think of a single good reason to take charge when your opponent has 9 fate.
He wants to make him lose an honor, man.
You have the Scorpion Stronghold. Like, the Watch Commanders are gone. This is just not going to happen.
Yeah, he's not going to dishonor him.
Yeah. So, you probably use this Vanguard Warrior to save Yunako.
Yeah, especially given that Hero is clouded.
Yeah.
And this actually opens up the stronghold, so holy shit.
Well,
You're gonna see
you need to
conclusion?
break on military. It's ancestral lands.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
that's
gonna
fair
be
point.
quite hard. Actually, Kachigo can break ancestral lands. We see Kasada get voided.
And he is playing 2 copies of Kachiko.
Yeah.
So we've only seen one Yojimbo and one Adept. We haven't seen any of the other conflict characters yet.
So he has 2 Kachiko, 2 Cunning Magistrate, and 1 Yujimbo left.
Which is a fair chunk of his deck is going to be playable
So
characters.
if he draws 1 card, it'll be 5 out of 14. Wait, why is he attacking Pilgrimage? Just give your opponent another fate.
Oh man, I guess he wants the.
All right, Joe went
He
for
knows he's not-
he went for fire. Excellent. All right, well at least he went for fire. Oh, okay. So he does have a reprieve, and QQ
Nice.
passes. Okay. Joe's actually in a decent position here. I actually think Joe's board is really strong right now.
Yeah, he's got he. One of the reasons he didn't go to meditations, I guess, is to keep that initiate as sack bait the next turn, which is nice.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right,
Are
so
we expecting? We want Joe to break 2 provinces this turn, or at least break 1 and defend.
yeah, he needs to break 1 and defend, right? If you. Oh yeah, Tenorem saying Shoju can break ancestral because it just kills the board.
Uh huh.
Shoju,
Okay, so
Shoju
he's
plus
flipped
Yunako
Yunako.
can kill a lot of things.
Man, he's 17 fate. Fuck me dead.
Well, he doesn't have any cards. Like, what's he gonna do? He's gonna buy Miyako and this liar, and he's got nothing else.
Mm.
Like, this is the problem when you start banking fate, is that unless you have cards to spend it on, it just sits there. It's like
Yep.
it's very diminishing returns. The difference between 12 and 17 fate is negligible, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the difference
between 0 and 5.
Yeah,
seems,
exactly.
And okay, the third Yasuki hits the table, and we've got another Vanguard Warrior, which is pretty,
This is a really good flop this is an insanely good flop for Joe.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, this Vanguard Warrior for Kasada, he's got an Envoy to sack. Like, this is a sick flop for Joe.
So we're getting down to it now, and Joe's got 8 Dynasty cards.
I think
left in his
QQ is
deck.
gonna bid 2 here.
Bid 2 and go down to 3 honor. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. You've been at 3 this whole game, right? You're not gonna play.
He's going to be
Assassination?
digging. He's got to be digging for Kachiko.
He bids 3 actually.
That is ballsy. He's going for the break, right?
Hey, now the air ring has fate on it. Maybe now you should go for the air ring. You guys should just go to meditations. You can go to meditations with somebody. We see a spyglass. All right, this is the moment. Did QQ find the one calling in favors? That's the only attachment control he's got left.
Man, that spyglass. That's the first spyglass in the game.
Use the City Allies. I'm expecting the calling in favors here. Waiting to see
that is vile.
I'm waiting.
That is vile if he's got it.
Yep, there's the dishonored status. Yep, we're gonna see calling in favors. Yep, not surprised. He's gone through 3/4 of his deck.
Yeah. Are you a little surprised that we haven't seen more than one spyglass played?
Kind of. Like, it's awkward to not have drawn 3 in your top half of your deck, but I mean, QQ's seen 8 more cards than Joe.
Yeah.
You can just do mill air with Kasada, and then you should not send your. I would send characters with no fate. I would do mill air with Kasada and qkieu Envoy.
Yeah, and then nuke him for the Witch Hunter. Alright, given that one of our players is going to take a little break to take a piss, I'm going to take a short sabbatical, get myself a bev, because it's been a long time.
Go ahead,
I'll be right
man.
back.
Tenorem, you don't have to worry about language, dude. From what I've gathered, most of the people on the server are adults or old enough that it shouldn't be a big deal. It's important to express yourself. Joe is actually not playing Tetsubo. Why is he attacking with so many characters? I don't like it sending this many characters. qkieu just defends with one character to not take the unopposed. qkieu doesn't have any bonsais. He can't contest Kasada. Like he just can't contest 7. Oh, Kasada gets crushed by Yunako. Never mind. Yeah, Yunako crushes Kasada. Yeah. Look, Heinzel, I'm not used to playing with these lopsided stats, alright? Us dragon players have very, very balanced stats.
Hello.
What's up?
Alright, so he's, wow, he's sending a fair few dudes. Wants to make sure it goes through.
Yeah, Heinzel points out that it's strange that qkieu uses City of Lies when he's sitting on 9 Fate, as opposed to just using the City of Lies to pop Kasada.
That is a very fair point.
So
Pass.
That's okay. So he stands Kasada with his Witch Hunter.
Wow, man, qkieu's on 1 honor.
Yep, and he discards a Shoju. Holy crap! That's actually. So we see pre-conflict Hachiko with no fate.
No fate.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see a Yojimbo here.
This signifies that he is going for the throat, right? Like, you don't play this card with no fate unless you're expecting to win the game this turn.
Oh yeah, if Joe has Assassinate, he no, Assassinate doesn't win, Suke. We know that qkieu has that Edict, because Joe randomly discarded Charge instead of Edict. I'm still, like, just so unsure.
So this strategy of endless air rings has finally sort of...
Well, I think qkieu just bid too aggressively. Joe hits a Spyglass. If Joe gets a rebuild, no, because Kachiko sends them home and bowed.
You know what he needs? He needs one of those Mountain Does Not Fall.
Tenerim, that's so risky. If Joe whiffs, say Karada District is one of his face down cards and he has no more Imperials, he'll mill his whole deck.
Yeah, which would mean an automatic. Well,
he wouldn't lose, but it would put him in not a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna burn Favorable Ground as an action here. No, he's out of Talisman, Suke. out of talismans. They're both in his graveyard.
Joe needs his third court games here to pump up Satoshi.
Yes, to get him out of range of Kachiko.
Yeah, that's what he needs.
He needs to use his... See, the problem is you have to use Yasuki or it'll get kicked out then.
Uh-huh. So he uses Yasuki, digs for the court games, and then Ukyu's forced to break.
Well, he's gonna kick Satoshi out here.
Oh, well, he'll need to spend an action though.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So you have to find court games here.
Yeah, so you're digging for it.
Favorable ground to cancel.
There's a favorable ground. Yep.
So you need 13 to you need to be winning by 13 to break the crab stronghold. Oh no. Satoshi's even now with crab stronghold.
Satoshi's safe, but Unico can flip that around, right?
Yeah.
This is hard. This is gonna be a hard one to defend.
Well, yeah. So you have to flip Satoshi then. If you want to kick Satoshi out, but then that also, if he then waits for him to use that, he can then court games and honor Satoshi. Oh, we see a court games to honor Kachiko. Never mind.
Ooh, there's a lot of skill. 18 skill.
So if she kicks out Satoshi, that's -5. That's 18 to 9. That is not breaking. I don't think qkieu can break. So 18 to 9, you can put yourself 20 to 9 by flipping Unico's own stats. So that would be up by 11. You would still need
the third fate worse than death could do it.
Yes, the third fate worse than death will be the game. I mean, there's not much you can do if you're Joe in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. Yep. This looks like it's gonna be
that is so sick. That makes you feel really sick. Mia Satoshi gets cucked with 1 card.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Scorpion has seen 31 cards this game.
Yes. So Joe is hanging on by the scruff of his +3.
We have Handsome Dan paying respects. F for respects. Pretty good meme. Yeah, Ham Hops. I'm not surprised that he had it.
Well, he still needs more skill.
No, he doesn't. He can kick out a character, and he can swap Yunako still. So he can generate 5 more skill. So he only needs to generate 1 more skill, and he can generate 5.
Okay, so so he's up by 15. So
he can go
even the court games won't do it,
He can go up by 17 with Yunako swap.
He used Yunako on Yunako.
Oh, he already used it. Okay.
Yep.
So up by 15. So even court games is only up by 13. You need fan plus court games, or 2 fans.
Yeah, and Joe is playing 3 fans. I don't think he's seen any of them.
Yeah, Insanity. Let's see this double fan hype. Double fan hype, please. You could rebuild for a favorable ground to move Satoshi back in to draw another card to find another fan. Oh yeah. There's the rebuild on favorable ground. Okay. Gonna move Satoshi back in. Imagine if Joe just didn't send as many characters as he did on that attack.
Rewind.
He wants to edict this, but to be fair, I don't think. Yeah, like it gives you a window to counter something.
Also, he's chosen the favorable ground, and they've
so qkieu has a forged edict, right? And so he's saying that he wanted to cancel this, but if Joe's under no obligation to let him do that, because Jigoku gives you a very reasonable window to cancel something, right? It highlights the card in your hand and it says, "Do you want to cancel it?" Like you have to visibly click past it.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow! So did he played another Spyglass? So he's actually getting 2 more cards.
Yeah. I mean, it still might not matter. But I guess if both those cards are fans, that'd be sick, right?
He's got 1 court games, which could get cancelled. So he needs the fans.
Yeah, he needs fans. No. Core Games Assassination does it.
That's a good point.
Right, so you Core Games to bait out the edict, and then you assassinate.
Oh man, this is a tight game.
I think Joe should have bought that Guardian too. If Joe just buys the Guardian with one, especially with rebuild, he would have been able to rebuild, use it, and then use it.
Yeah.
I think Joe could have actually just defended against this because of Ancestral End. He just needed to not attack with so much, and he needed to. Oh, we're seeing Wave the Crab here. He's just gonna sacrifice Miyako.
He has to, yeah. He's just hoping he makes a mistake with that one.
Alright, is Joe's last card Core Games Assassination. Core Games fan.
I think, was he trying to bait out the cancel with that?
Yeah, but like there's no reason. There's no reason to cancel that. You're winning on board. Yep, qkieu
Oh,
wins.
and that's it. Congratulations to qkieu. It was a hard-fought, long slog of a game.
Yeah, I actually think Joe was gonna win this game if he had just played this last turn correctly. Like I think
that was a fun one to watch. There was a bit of a standstill in the middle there, but yeah, I mean the Scorpion just eventually got the job done, eh?
Incremental advantage. I'm gonna keep repeating that phrase. It got built up, and incremental advantage ended up winning this game.
All right, well, man, thanks for inviting me on. That was fun to do that.
Yeah, no problem, man.
And I look forward to watching more of your streams.
Yeah, so, chat, we have 2 more games today. We have, let's see. So, we have Yaba versus Kira mode, Lion versus Scorpion at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that is in 2 hours.
Go Lion.
And then we have Byron Crane versus... So we have Noman, a.k.a. Byron Crane, versus Demagogue, which should be a really sick match at 3 p.m. So,
and what clans are they playing?
That's Scorpion versus Phoenix. Demagogue is a really strong Phoenix player.
Okay.
And Noman is a very strong...
Nice, that'll be a killer one.
Yeah.
It's also quite an interesting matchup. It feels like if Phoenix can get ahead early... Which is tough to do, but if they can have a decent shot at it.
Eugen and Demagogue are 2 of the best Phoenix players on the Discord server, so if one of them can do
Eugen's a fiend. That guy's amazing.
Yeah, Shiba Inu actually beat a Scorpion player also, so Phoenix did beat Scorpion already in this match, in this tournament, so I think it can happen, so we'll see. So yeah, we'll be back in 2 hours for Kira mode versus Yaba. Alright, take care guys.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks again for joining me.
No problem. See you next time.